Hi everyone, I'm Joe. This week, we explore the topic of decision-making, as presented in Chapter 11 of our Organizational Behavior course. The objective is to understand how individuals and groups make choices in complex and uncertain business environments. Key concepts include the rational decision-making model, non-rational approaches, common decision biases, and group decision-making dynamics. This chapter builds upon earlier discussions, such as perception and motivation, by emphasizing how internal and external factors influence our choices. It also sets the stage for upcoming topics like leadership and organizational change, where decision-making plays a central role. The big idea this week is that decision-making is often unconsciously influenced by cognitive biases. According to Chapter 11, even when we think we're being logical, we may fall into traps like confirmation bias, overconfidence, or the anchoring effect. This is something I'll remember for years, because it challenges the assumption that more information always leads to better decisions. Recognizing these biases also connects to our earlier discussions on perception. Just like how our view of others can be distorted, so too can our judgment when making decisions. As I read Chapter 11, I immediately thought of real-world examples where decision-making played a crucial role. I worked in a retail company where managers would hire based on gut feeling rather than structured interviews. Looking back, they were likely using intuitive decision-making, and sometimes confirmation bias. Another example is during one group assignment, we all agreed too quickly on an idea. Only later did I realize we experienced groupthink, where no one wanted to challenge the first suggestion. These examples help me connect theory with practice and see how common and impactful these decision traps can be. My aha moment this week was learning about bounded rationality. According to Chapter 11, it's the idea that we cannot process all available information, so we satisfice, or settle, for a good enough option. This completely shifted how I think about decision-making. Instead of striving for the perfect solution, I realized that in many fast-paced settings, aiming for a practical and timely decision is more realistic, and sometimes even more effective. Before this week, I believed good decision-making was simply about gathering enough information. Now, I understand that awareness of biases and using structured techniques are just as important. Short-term, start practicing case studies or scenario-based questions to test how I apply these decision-making concepts under pressure. Long-term, begin documenting key decisions in a personal or professional journal, reflecting on the process and outcomes to continuously improve my judgment skills. Understanding how I make choices is no longer just academic, it's a lifelong leadership skill. Thank you for joining me in exploring this week's topic. Chapter 11 reminded me that making decisions is more than just choosing. It's about thinking critically, understanding ourselves, and always being ready to learn.